Welcome to today's episode. We're excited to have you here and super excited to share today. Rod here at A Better Way to Farm, where we increase yields and improve profits. Today, we're going to talk about 7 planting tips for a profitable season, some things to think about as we launch off into Plant 2025. Here at A Better Way to Farm, we've been rolling this around and coming up with ways saying, what can we do to make things better, and even here on our own farm. Tip number 1. We want to plant by the conditions, not by the calendar. Forget the date. I've seen people plant corn. As a matter of fact, I think it was 2 years ago here, everybody that planted between April 10th and April 23rd, that was good. Anything planted on the 24th and the 25th was terrible. And then if you'd waited till around the 27th or 28th, it got good again. Why? Because sometimes we need to make sure, not sometimes, we should always make sure we're coming into a warm-up period, not a cool-down and rain period. And so what do we want to do? We want to watch the soil. We want to look at the moisture, we want to look at the temperature, and we want to look at the soil structure. A lot of the guys that I've listened to over the years have said, go pick up a ball of dirt with your hand, squeeze it into a tight ball, and drop it. If it shatters, you're okay, it'll go. And so as we do that, here's what we know. We know that the seed does not care what the date is. Absolutely only responds to the environment that it's placed in. Tip number 2, do it right the first time. My grandfather used to beat on me. He'd always say, Rod, if there isn't time to do it right now, when will there be a time to do it correctly? And I think that was really ingrained in me, and I believe strongly in that. Do it right the first time and be done with it. Rushing to say that we're done often means we get to do it twice. And if we don't do it twice, it may mean that we get to pay for it all season. We want to wait for the right conditions. We want to have that planter dialed in. And we know this, one solid start beats a rushed do-over every single time. Tip number 3, spend some time behind the planter. In my reading, I ran across something called the SEED method. It stands for stop, examine, evaluate, and dig. Before we go blazing through the field, let's take the time to walk behind that planter. Let's check our work. Let's look at the seed depth. And guys, I believe if there was an 11th commandment, it would be thou shalt not kid thyself. Because when we look at that seed depth, I encourage some kind of a tool. We have these knives that we give away that we're very fond of, and they go down to 2, actually they go to 2 1/4 inches. And we want to make sure that we're getting that seed in at the right depth. We want to take time to walk behind that planter and say, what's the depth? What's the spacing like? What is the trench quality? And have we managed the residue? Because residue management is something that either we will get right or we will pay for all season long. Do we have those trash whippers set appropriately? Are they digging a trench on their own? Are they not getting rid of all of the residue? Do we need to take the time to adjust those and do something different? And as you guys well know, it can vary on field-to-field basis. Bottom line is, guys, what we see is what we get, and what we don't check is going to cost us money for the entire growing season. Number 4, we know that a poor planter prep punishes profits. Say that 5 times really fast. Poor planter prep punishes profits. Sloppy setups steal yield. The fact of the matter is, if we have skips, if we have shallow seed, if we have sidewall compaction, or all of these can come from rushing or skipping calibration. We want to take time to check those meters. We want to check those closing wheels. We want to check on our downforce, and we definitely want to check on the depth. Precision now will prevent problems later. Number 5, and I love this title. We want to plant between the crazies and the lazies. Okay, what do we mean? Well, the fact of the matter is we want to start after that first guy. I know that I was talking to a friend of mine in Minnesota, and there's some guys up there that already have in several hundred acres of soybeans. And need I remind you, they actually planted those in the month of March. Number 1, I think there's a small chance that probably federal crop is not going to say that's a good idea, and they're not going to cover a replant. And number 2, I just think that it's fun to play around and it's fun to get the neighbors to talk, but it's mostly fun to make a big profit. If I want to experiment and try something really early and see what it does, that's cool. I love that. However, if I'm wanting to make sure that I'm doing it correctly, I really got to go back and not be jumping the gun. I don't want to be one of the crazies. I don't want to be last. I don't want to be one of the lazies either. We all know the guy who's getting his planner out and starting to work on it on the 15th day of May when everyone else is already done. Again, not what we want to do, but the fact of the matter is, guys, we want to get in there when the time is right. If we start after that first guy and we don't wait until we get to the coffee shop crew saying, hey, by chance, did you retire? Then we're probably being a little bit smarter. We want to be timely. We want to make our move when our field says it's time to go. Number 6, flag test our emergence. Every day is back in school. I know some of us profess that we hated school, but guys, school really started after we graduated. They really shouldn't. It's not so much graduation as is commencement, because what commences is the rest of our life. What commences is our learning. And hopefully we're learning every single day. And part of that is doing the flag test. If we're not flag testing, we're just hoping. When we use that flag test to measure emergence timing and stand uniformity, it is the best way to catch issues, to diagnose problems, and to improve season after season. When we're planning in 25, we are learning for 26. And we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to have every year be as successful as humanly possible. Hey, and by the way, here's a little tip. Karen said if you would like the secret sauce for a better emergence, text the word AMP, A-M-P, AMP, to 641-919-5570. That's AMP to 641-919-5570. And number 7, which is so applicable in so many parts of our life, slow down to speed up. Number 1, shortcuts are always long cuts, plain and simple. Number 2, going real fast oftentimes is the slowest way to get something done. And the fact of the matter is, planning really fast, we may win the race. We may get done first time. Shoot, we might even get done the second time first. But in the long run, it loses. It loses us money in the replant. You say, well, they'll give me the seed. The wear and tear on the planter ain't free. The fuel ain't free. The wear and tear on the tractor ain't free. And the fact of the matter is, what we want to do is do it right the first time. And that involves slowing down to speed up. We know that too much speed causes skips. We know that it can cause poor spacing. And we know that too much speed will get uneven depth. When we were hanging out with Francis and watching him plant and being involved in doing those things, it was always cool to see. But Francis said that he couldn't start planting corn until 10 in the morning. This was tongue in cheek. And the reason was that he wasn't allowed to drink a Pepsi before 10. And his deal was he would set a Pepsi on the planter box. And if he went across the field and the Pepsi wouldn't stay on, the ground was too rough and or he was going too fast. Guys, these are sins of the planter that we'll never fix later. Poor spacing, skips, uneven depth, we're going to pay for those all year long. And there's no going back and fixing it shy of a replant. The bottom line is, take our time. You know, what we want to do is have that precision at the planting, because that's going to set the foundation for everything else. One of the things that we get involved in, and I'm always amused because, as you guys know, we're doing a little segment on WNAX out of Yankton, South Dakota on Mondays, and that just moved to the 2 o'clock hour. It was at the 1 o'clock hour. They changed their programming. But next week, when we get onto the WNAX program, he wants to talk about planting, in particular planting depth. And, you know, it's funny because I've talked to a whole bunch of friends, people that I respect, really good corn growers, and I can remember 30 years ago that, you know, we planted pretty shallow. We want to get that corn up and get it going, get it out of the ground. And then we just started planting it deeper and deeper and deeper. And the fact of the matter is, I can remember when we went to 1.5 inches, and I can remember when we went to 2. And now we have a lot of guys talking about going down. Most of the guys that I tend to follow believe about 2.25 on corn is the right thing. That we want to get down in there between 2 and 2.5 inches. And if we don't, if we plant our corn shallow, yeah, it's cool because it comes out of the ground a lot faster. But the fact of the matter is, we're very prone to having corn that won't stand up. We get poor roots when we don't plant deep enough. And so one of those things is we really want to take that depth gauge, and we're looking for that magic 2-inch number, and maybe even a 2 1/4, to try and get that done, get down there where we need to get it. We also want to talk about soybeans, and the most common thing I get there when I have people say, hey, what do you think about soybeans? Well, everyone that I talk to would agree, plant to moisture. You know, with that soybean, and it doesn't mean like the moisture's at 1 inch, so I'm planting at 1 inch. If it starts at 1 inch, then we're probably going to go 1 1/4 to 1.5 inches, because we want that bean in moisture. The worst thing in the world is it starts to sprout and then doesn't finish because it gets dry. And so typically in a perfect world, most of the guys I talk to, the ones that I follow, would say about 1.5 inches on soybeans, but we want to make sure we're planting into moisture. Guys, it's just 7 tips, 7 things for you to think about. We appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully there's one thing here that you can say, hey, I'm going to implement that. I'm going to make a little bit of difference, and I'm going to have a little bit more yield in the fall because I did the right thing. As you guys well know, it's never wrong to do the right thing. We appreciate you tuning in and being a part of our program. We encourage you to find us on the podcast platform of your choice, or of course you can get us on the flagship over at Facebook or TikTok, Instagram, wherever you might want to go to find us. You can probably get us on that social media form, and we appreciate you guys listening. If you find value in what we do, share us with a friend, give us a rating. We would deeply appreciate that. And we really, guys, we just want to say thank you. I want you to have a safe spring, a super successful 2025. And as always, we hope you're having a better day.